that falls on me as our point guard. I think I have to really get us into stuff, especially in the fourth quarter. We didn't do a good job of taking care of the ball. I didn't. So I think just starts with me and just getting better in that. And
in the world of sports, emotions often run high. The competition, the pressure to perform, and the relentless drive to succeed can sometimes create a volatile environment, leading to tensions both on and off the court. For Caitlin Clark, one of the most iconic and dynamic names in college basketball today, things recently took an unexpected turn. Clark, known for her unmatched skill and leadership, decided to break her silence and publicly speak out about her experiences with Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever. This wasn't just another drama-filled sports headline. What Caitlin shared could have serious, long-lasting implications. Her words have not only ignited controversy, but could potentially affect the league's reputation and Caitlin's career trajectory moving forward. For those who are not familiar, Caitlin Clark has rapidly become a rising star in the NCAA basketball scene, earning widespread recognition for her unmatched energy, scoring ability, and exceptional leadership on the court. Her performances for the Iowa Hawkeyes have captivated fans and analysts, cementing her status as one of the most exciting players to watch in college basketball. With her electrifying play, Caitlin's name has quickly risen to national prominence, drawing attention from all corners of the sports world. However, as her fame continues to soar, the spotlight has also brought unwanted scrutiny and controversy. Most recently, a situation involving Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, has escalated into a complex issue that has sparked reactions and heated discussions across the basketball community. This unfolding drama is something that nobody saw coming, and its impact may reverberate far beyond the game itself. Let's go back to the moment when everything started to unravel. It began with an intense game that featured Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, a matchup that was highly anticipated by fans and analysts alike. Given Caitlin's unparalleled dominance on the court and the Fever's recent struggles, the stakes were high. Clark's presence on the floor was undeniable. She is an offensive powerhouse, creating opportunities at will, making shots from anywhere, and constantly drawing the attention of opposing defenses. Her play was mesmerizing, and it seemed as though she was in complete control. However, as the game progressed, it became increasingly clear that the battle was not confined to the court alone. Tensions were rising off the court, setting the stage for a deeper conflict that would soon unfold. During the game, some questionable coaching decisions were made by Stephanie White that seemed to target Caitlin Clark's growing influence on the court. As Clark pushed the boundaries of her playmaking, showcasing her brilliance and control, it appeared that White's frustration with the young star's performance began to escalate. The tension between the two became palpable as White's coaching choices seemed less about strategy and more about undermining Clark's momentum. Miscommunications started to surface, and players on both teams could sense something was off. The atmosphere was charged, and when the final buzzer sounded, it became clear that the fallout from the game was far from over. The tensions carried beyond the court, setting the stage for deeper conflict.
I mean, I thought we executed really well in the first half. I thought we did a tremendous job of making them pick and choose out of the ball screen if they're going to play drop.
Caitlin Clark's decision to break her silence came after weeks of pent-up frustration, reflection, and emotional turmoil. After enduring months of tension, she felt it was time to speak out. In an exclusive interview, Caitlin opened up about her experiences with Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever, shedding light on a side of the story that had been carefully hidden from the public eye. She was candid and unapologetic in describing the challenges she faced, not just from opposing teams, but also from the coaching staff she had once deeply respected. Her revelations painted a picture of a toxic environment that left her questioning everything she thought she knew about the game and the people in it. Caitlin's words were sharp, deliberate, and carried significant weight, revealing a side of the game that many had never seen. She described how during the game she felt that Stephanie White was not merely challenging her play on a strategic level, but was employing tactics that went far beyond what could be considered professional. According to Caitlin, White's behavior wasn't just about motivation or coaching methods, it was deeply personal. She recounted moments when White made derogatory comments aimed at undermining her performance, even going so far as to question her leadership in front of her teammates and staff, further intensifying the emotional strain. This wasn't just coaching, it was an attack on her confidence. This revelation shocked the basketball community, sending ripples of disbelief across fans, players, and analysts alike. It wasn't just about the frustrations that arise in a high-stakes game or the typical tension between players and coaches. It was about something much more profound. Caitlin Clark's comments exposed a deeper issue within the professional sports world, one rooted in respect, fairness, and the treatment of young talent.
Clark working on McDonald, who gives it a swipe. Clark, step back, hits a three!
Her words spoke to a larger problem that often goes unnoticed: how emerging athletes, particularly women, are sometimes unfairly treated or ignored in environments that should nurture their growth. But Caitlin Clark didn't stop there. She took her revelations even further, revealing how her interactions with the Fever organization extended far beyond the basketball court. In her interview, Caitlin painted a disturbing picture of a toxic environment within the Fever, where coaches and staff seemed more focused on undermining her confidence and questioning her abilities rather than fostering her potential. Caitlin shared how some of her communications with the Fever were hostile, even dismissive, leaving her to question whether the organization truly cared about her development, both as a player and as a person. It wasn't just about game strategies or coaching decisions. It was about the personal attacks and lack of support that left Caitlin feeling alienated and unsupported in an environment that should have been her safe space for growth. For many, this was a moment of clarity and reckoning. The Indiana Fever, once seen as a promising powerhouse in women's professional basketball, was now facing intense scrutiny for how they handled one of the sport's brightest stars. The organization, which had prided itself on its development of talent, was now being questioned for its treatment of Caitlin Clark, who had only ever been an asset to the game. Stephanie White, a coach who had built a reputation for being knowledgeable and respected, was now at the center of a growing storm of backlash due to her alleged mistreatment of Caitlin. In the wake of Caitlin's revelations, an overwhelming outpouring of support flooded in from fans, players, and analysts alike. People were shocked and disturbed by the details Caitlin had shared, and many took to social media to voice their outrage. Caitlin, already one of the most celebrated players in college basketball, wielded immense influence with her words. Her courage in sharing her experiences not only resonated deeply with her supporters, but also sparked conversations about respect, fairness, and accountability in the world of professional sports. Fans rallied behind her, affirming their belief that no athlete should have to endure such treatment. The controversy reached a boiling point when the Fever issued a response. In a public statement, Stephanie White addressed Caitlin Clark's claims, calling them misunderstandings and attributing any tension between them to the intensity of the game. White's statement was met with skepticism. Many felt that her response lacked accountability, and it left many questions unanswered. Instead of offering a heartfelt apology or an explanation, the Fever tried to downplay the severity of Caitlin's accusations. This only seemed to fuel the fire, as more and more people began to demand transparency and accountability from the Fever organization. As the days passed, the conversation about Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White, and the Indiana Fever grew louder. It became clear that the issue wasn't just a disagreement between two individuals. It was a reflection of broader issues within the professional basketball world. Young athletes, especially women in sports, often face challenges when it comes to being taken seriously and treated with respect.
Here's Clark, working behind Boston. Clark for the lead. You bet!
Caitlin Clark's situation highlighted how, despite her incredible talent and achievements, she was still being subjected to unfair treatment by those who were supposed to be her mentors and supporters. The situation took another turn when a group of former players and coaches spoke out in support of Caitlin. They shared their own stories of mistreatment and discrimination within the sports world. Many of these individuals had experienced similar challenges, and their stories resonated with Caitlin's. These testimonies only added to the growing pressure on the Fever and Stephanie White to address the issues head-on. What makes this situation so concerning is the potential long-term effects it could have on Caitlin Clark's career. She's at the height of her game, with the world watching her every move. As one of the brightest young stars in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark has the potential to revolutionize the sport. But if she continues to face the kind of treatment she described, it could have a lasting impact on her performance, her confidence, and her future prospects. This isn't just about one bad interaction between a player and a coach. It's about creating an environment where players like Caitlin Clark can thrive and be supported. It's about fostering a culture in women's sports where young talent is respected, nurtured, and given the tools to succeed. If organizations like the Indiana Fever fail to do that, they risk alienating the very stars that could propel the sport forward. The bottom line is this: Caitlin Clark's bravery in speaking out about her experiences has sparked a necessary conversation. It's forced the basketball community to take a hard look at how athletes are treated, especially those who are still in the early stages of their careers. As fans, analysts, and fellow athletes continue to rally behind Caitlin, the pressure on the Fever and Stephanie White continues to mount. What happens next will be crucial. Will the Fever take responsibility for their actions and work to make things right with Caitlin Clark? Or will they continue to downplay the situation and risk losing the trust of their players, fans, and the broader basketball community? Caitlin Clark has broken her silence, and the world is listening. This could be a turning point for women's professional basketball, but only if the right lessons are learned. It's up to the Fever and Stephanie White to take this opportunity to make meaningful changes. The future of the sport, and the players within it, depends on it. The journey for Caitlin Clark is far from over. Despite the challenges she's faced, she's proven that she's not afraid to stand up for herself and others. Her voice matters, and it will continue to echo in the halls of basketball for years to come. This is just the beginning of a much larger conversation about respect, fairness, and the future of women in sports. Let's hope the right lessons are learned and that Caitlin Clark's story serves as an inspiration for future generations of athletes to never back down, no matter the obstacles they face. The conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark's experiences is not just a conversation about one player or one game. It's about the culture that exists within the sport, a culture that has often favored power dynamics over true player development and well-being. When a star player like Caitlin Clark speaks out, the implications extend far beyond the specific incidents she addresses. This situation is emblematic of a larger issue that needs to be addressed. For young players, especially women, the world of sports is already challenging enough. They are often expected to perform at the highest levels while facing barriers like unequal pay, lack of visibility, and institutional support. And when these athletes finally get their moment in the sun, it should be an opportunity for them to shine, to develop their craft, and to grow. Instead, Caitlin Clark's case shows how even the brightest stars can be stifled by the people who are supposed to nurture them. There's a broader question here that needs to be answered. How many young, talented athletes are silenced by coaches or organizations that don't prioritize their development? How many have to deal with toxic environments, lack of support, or even sabotage? Caitlin Clark's story is one example, but it may be just the tip of the iceberg. The role of coaches is not just to strategize for victories, it's to mentor, to support, and to build confidence in the athletes they lead. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. Coaches like Stephanie White have a responsibility to create environments where players can succeed, where they can make mistakes, and where they can grow. Unfortunately, it seems like that was not the case with Caitlin Clark. What's clear from Caitlin's story is that there needs to be more transparency in how athletes are treated and how young talent is supported within professional organizations. The Fever's response has shown how deep-rooted the issues can be. Instead of genuinely addressing the concerns raised by Caitlin, they chose to deflect and downplay her experience. As fans and supporters of the game, it's our job to hold these organizations accountable. We need to demand better treatment for the athletes who entertain and inspire us. Caitlin Clark's bravery in speaking out serves as a rallying cry for all athletes who may feel voiceless. She has set the stage for others to share their stories, and now it's up to the basketball community to listen, learn, and grow from what she's revealed. For Caitlin, this is not the end. If anything, it's the beginning of a new chapter. She's already shown that she's a fighter, and with the support of her fans and her fellow athletes, she's poised to take on whatever challenges come her way. And as for the Fever and Stephanie White, the ball is now in their court. How they handled this situation will define their legacy, and it will serve as a lesson for the entire sports world. The eyes of the basketball world are watching. Let's hope they get it right.